If history were a gamble, Germany would undoubtedly be the player who lost the most catastrophically, yet staged the most spectacular comeback. Some asked, what constitutes the fundamental depth and reserve of a great power? Is it the butcher's knife Wilhelm II wielded against the world? No. Through 3 destructions and 3 rebirths, Germany has taught us a profound lesson about the noblest form of national revenge. It is not to conquer the world with force, but after your spine has been broken, your territory dismembered, then your dignity trampled, to rebuild a civilization that commands global awe upon 75 million tons of rubble with bloodied hands. From being the public enemy of Europe, turning the continent into a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood, to becoming the industrial model the entire humanity studies, what did Germany rely on? Was it luck, atonement, or that relentless ruthlessness engraved in their bones until death? Today, let us dedicate a few minutes to thoroughly discuss this nation that returned from hell, and examine how they forcibly played a terrible hand into a winning one. Let us dial back time to the late 19th century. Germany was then known as the German Empire, marking its first zenith. How strong was Germany then? To put it simply, its army could utterly dominate a traditional power like France, and its industrial output was surging,
poised to overtake Great Britain.
Credit for all this belongs to the Allied Chancellor, Otto von Bismarck. This old man was a supreme diplomat who managed European diplomacy like a master juggler. He simultaneously kept 5 balls in the air: Germany, Austria, France, and Britain. His strategy was simple: maintain the Great River in the center, ally with Russia and Austria, isolate France, and avoid Great Britain. As long as these balls were not dropped, Germany could sit securely and quietly. However, as the saying goes, one should not fear a godlike opponent, but rather a pig-like teammate. In 1888, how baffling were this heir's operations? First, he rejected the Russian Tsar's olive branch for a treaty renewal, forcibly pushing Russia into the arms of France, thereby plunging Germany into its greatest strategic taboo, a 2-front war. Immediately after, he provoked Britain by insisting on a naval arms race. The British saw this as a direct threat to their maritime supremacy and responded by building the epoch-making dreadnoughts. Germany, undeterred, gritted its teeth and followed suit. The result was a scarcity of allies and a plethora of enemies. In a short span of just over 20 years, Germany went from a European potential stock to a besieged public enemy. We all know the outcome. World War I broke out in 1914. Although Germany was militarily capable, engaged in a war of attrition with Britain and France on the Western Front, ultimately unrestricted submarine warfare provoked the Colossus, not the Eastern Front. Ultimately, unrestricted submarine warfare provoked the Colossus, that was the United States. In 1918, Germany collapsed. Wilhelm II fled to the Netherlands, and the German Empire ceased to exist. In the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles, the victors calculated the ledger with a magnifying glass. Territorial cessions, reparations, and disarmament were enforced with maximum severity, aiming to trample Germany into the mud so it could never rise again. Logically, after such suffering, the nation should have remained subdued. But no, a fire of resentment burned in the hearts of the German people. By 1933, Hitler came to power. He was a madman, but also a master demagogue, exploiting the German people's hatred of the Treaty of Versailles. He reduced unemployment through infrastructure projects and military industrialization. The economy appeared to be booming. This was Germany's second rise, but it was a rise laced with virulent poison. This prosperity, built on debt, and the Soviets believed the backbone of the Teutonic nation was permanently broken, beyond salvation even by divine intervention. Yet, precisely on these ruins of absolute despair, the Germans staged the most incredible third comeback in human history. How was this achieved? We must deconstruct this carefully. There was an element of luck, but even more so, it was the German ruthlessness toward themselves. First, credit must be given to two gift packages from the geopolitical heavens. The first was the Cold War. As soon as World War II ended, the two superpowers, the US and the USSR, fell out. The Americans realized West Germany's location was too critical. It was the front line against the Soviet Union. This little brother could not be allowed to die. He had to be nurtured into a warrior. Thus came the famous Marshall Plan. The Americans truly poured on money. Billions of dollars in aid not only provided the capital for machinery, but, more importantly, solved the urgent shortage of foreign exchange. Furthermore, the US generously opened its markets, allowing German goods to be sold freely. This was hardly the treatment of a defeated nation. It was akin to brotherhood. Then came the second gift, the Korean War in 1950. This conflict placed immense logistical pressure on the US and UN forces, creating an urgent need for military supplies and industrial goods. Looking around, who had the industrial base to produce quickly? It was Germany. This massive wave of war orders fueled German factories. Machines roared day and night, and Made in Germany used this opportunity to claw its way back into the global market. However, one must be strong to forge iron. External aid is useless if the recipient is mud that cannot support a wall. The key to Germany's turnaround lay in their ruthlessness toward themselves and their strictness with institutions. Let us first address the economy. At the time, the German economy was chaotic, with severe hyperinflation rendering the old. Next, let's discuss education, the true nuclear engine of Germany's rise. Even when they could barely eat, Germans did not forget to prioritize education. Unlike some nations that focus solely on cultivating white-collar university graduates, Germany placed special emphasis on the dual education system. What is the dual system? It means students learn theory in vocational schools, while simultaneously learning craftsmanship from masters in factories. This model produces not bookworms who only know theory, but high-level skilled technicians who are immediately operational. Why are modern German brands like Mercedes-Benz and BMW so formidable? They rely on this workforce of technically superior blue-collar workers. The lesson here is immense. A nation's industrial foundation lies not in how many financial magnates it has, but in how many artisans it possesses who can tighten a screw with seamless precision. There is a demographic that must be mentioned. German women. World War II wiped out the German men. So, who cleared the citywide ruins? It was the German women. History has a specific term for them. Trümmerfrauen. In the freezing winter winds of Berlin, millions of women, some with gray hair, others carrying children on their backs, held crude shovels, clearing, and stacking bricks one by one. They had no complaints, driven by a simple notion, ensuring their children could attend school in clean classrooms. It was this resilient, silently burden-bearing national character that held up half the sky of Germany's post-war reconstruction. If you travel to Germany and see those clean, orderly streets, do not forget the blood and sweat of a generation of German mothers buried beneath them. Beyond hard work, the German did something of immense wisdom, admission of guilt and reconciliation. We know that after losing WWI, Germany was unconvinced, feeling they had been cheated. But after World War II, Germany truly knelt. They did not hide like a certain island nation in the East. Instead, they openly acknowledged their war crimes, paying out a total of 90 billion marks in reparations to victim nations over time. Especially poignant was West German Chancellor Willy Brandt's historic Kniefel von Warschau. before the monument to the ghetto heroes in Poland. What knelt toward his knees, what stood up, was the dignity of Germany. This act allowed the European neighbors to slowly lower their guard. Germany also proactively sought reconciliation with its archenemy, France, proposing, "Let us stop fighting. Let us form a coal and steel community together." J was the embryo of the European Union. Through this method, Germany transformed from a guard against war criminal into the leading brother of Europe. So, looking at the path Germany has walked over these decades,